This is episode 220 of the Illustrious Gentleman. That's Scott. I'm Ryan. You can support the podcast, watch the podcast, listen to the podcast, and see any
smell the podcast,
and see any additional notes at tigshow.com. Like last week's episode was about our influence maps. If you go to tigshow.com, you can see our 2010 influence maps. You can see our 2021 influence maps, and you can download a version of your own influence map. I did not give credit to who created the original influence map. I'm terrible.
Who cares?
I'm like a publisher that doesn't.
But you can play along at home.
That's right. We're interactive. All right. You want me to go first? You want to go first on your drinking? What you drinking?
Oh, sure. I've got Great Divide, Colette Farmhouse Ale. Where is it? Oh no. I should stay behind it there.
There you go.
There we go. It's I think it's a 6.5.
All right. Ooh,
sexy
Colette
can art.
I used to know a girl, a woman. I got to stop saying that. I used to know a woman because she was a woman even at that point. I tried to flirt with her, but everyone at work tried to flirt with her. We're always trying to whatever. And then every once in a while, her little sister would come hang out with us, who was also legally a woman at that point, still legally a woman. And so her sister would come hang out with us, and her sister's name was Colette. And so, you know, if you feel like you were going to maybe strike out with the older sister, you could always go hit on Colette, who was already too cool to have anything to do with someone like me. So, yeah, that's the only Colette I've ever known in person. And she would never remember my name or my face or anything about me. But there you go. That's my Colette story.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
I've never known a Colette. I don't have a Colette story.
Well, then one of us is better than the other. So Farmhouse Ale, that's kind of like a sour or a Belgian.
Yeah, it's got the nose. It's tart.
Yeah.
All right.
Tart. Perfect name then, Colette. That was rude. I mean, I guess that didn't mean, it just meant like she's sassy.
Oh.
She'd crack on me, as the kids used to say, bust on me as the older kids used to say.
Now, I feel like tart might be just a rung below the C word.
Oh, really?
That's what it feels like.
It's between the B word and the C word.
I don't
you
know
get the
why
tart.
I said C word because I've said it before on this show.
Well, we're Be Better Humans, right? .org.
Yeah. We're not the illustrious dude bros.
Yeah. Except when we do dude bro shows. I mean, your hat is on backwards. So, anyways. What is that a beer shirt? Is that a brewery shirt you're wearing?
It is.
What does it say?
It's Pine Top.
Oh, okay. All right, that's pretty dude.
Fine.
That's pretty dude bro in Pine Top.
Fine.
I have a Pine Top Brewing tulip.
Yeah, I know.
That my parents got me. Okay, so I am drinking. I was in Flagstaff this past weekend, or no, actually Monday, and I went to one of my favorite shops that has a pretty good beer selection, and I picked up a handful of beers. And along the lines of great minds think alike, you sent a message the next morning. I picked up some beers for the show, and I was like, so did I.
I did.
So I am drinking. It's called the I Remember When. It's a sour double IPA. I'm usually against sours. I'm trying to be better.org. And so I thought I would try this. It's 8.5%, only has a 4.08 on Untapped. That means 0.92% of people didn't like it. That's almost a full person. That's like a 16-year-old. And it's from Harlan Brewing Company in San Diego, California, but it's a collab with Superstition Meadery of Prescott, Arizona. I don't know if you've been to Superstition Meadery or if you've had any of their meads, but I went there once and had a tasting. I had a flight. So it's a regular beer, but it was aged in mead barrels. I'll just go ahead and read it to you here.
Yeah.
Local wildflower honey from Mikolich Honey, dry hopped with mosaic cryo conditioned. They didn't say hops, but I think they mean to say hops there. On blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry. So it should have a fruity but sour flavor. Like I said, 8.5%.
Nice.
So I poured it into my Truth or Consequences little baby glass here. Ooh. Not liking that initial nose. Smells like sour something. Not in a good way. Not like a Sour Patch Kid, but like a, you put some some old fruit in the garbage, and then you forgot to take the garbage out for a day.
No.
And the fun thing about mead is, well, not the fun thing. So wine is fermented grapes, but mead is fermented honey. And I didn't know honey could get fermented. I didn't know you could have bad honey. I thought it just stayed honey.
Yeah, bad everything.
Like podcasts. All right. Oh, but one of the reasons
it's fermented.
Yes. One of the reasons I did get this is because I really appreciate the label design. I appreciate the simplicity, the honestness, the cleanness of the label design. Harlan Brewing. I remember when Sour Quebec double IPA. Again, if it's under 10%, don't be calling it a double IPA. Don't come up here with that shit. And Marcus L on Untapped said, that's, and then he put 3 fire emojis.
Okay.
So that's fire.
I guess that's cool.
Yeah, that's what I took from that. All right. Last week, before we jump into TikTok, and please speak over me if you have something on your mind. But last week, I don't remember any of these questions. Like Gonzo walked into the studio the other day and started telling me what a boysenberry was. And I was like, that's super random thing to start the day with, man. Like, where did this come from? And then he said on the podcast, you asked what was a boysenberry. And
no, I asked?
No, I asked.
You asked.
Maybe you asked. Either way, I have no memory. I have no memory of this at all. Even when he said it, it didn't trigger a memory in my head. But I'm gonna trust him. He doesn't drink, so his memory's got to be better than mine. So apparently, I asked, "What is a boysenberry?" Gonzo says a boysenberry is just a Knott's Berry of Knott's Berry Farm fame. It's a proprietary berry. And the Knotts and the Don Knotts of Knott's Berry farm fame was a botanist. So, and his wife was like a pie maker. I'm butchering all of this.
Wait, Don Knotts was a botanist?
Exactly. So you're following along now. So you can Google it. But anyways, so the botanist crossbred the berry, and then the wife put it into pies, and it became Knott's Berry. And then
crossbreed a berry.
I don't know. People crossbreed everything. There's crossbred grass, crossbred weed, crossbred dogs, all sorts of stuff. Look it up.
No, I just think about the South Park episode where they get the elephant drunk to fuck the pig.
The poor pig's not winning no matter what. But anyways, my Knott's Berry Farm story is I went there for a 6th grade honor roll field trip when I went to Oceanside. San Rafael Elementary School, 6th grade honor roll field trip was to Knott's Berry Farm. And I think I had just broken up with my girlfriend, so I saw her flirting with other boys on the field trip because we were both in honor roll. Because I know how to
6th grade.
I know how to choose smart women. But yeah, it was tough. I didn't enjoy my Knott's Berry Farm trip. And then later we went to a Disneyland trip and we were back together, and I bought her a Mickey Mouse sweatshirt. At that time, it was probably like $25, but in 1989 or 1990, when you have no money, that's all the money. That's all my paper money. All my paper route money.
$1,021.
Yeah, it was like all my paper route money. And I bought her this Mickey Mouse sweatshirt that Michael J. Fox's sister wore in something very similar. And she broke up with me again like a week later, and I never got that.
To wash her bike.
I never got that sweatshirt back. But enough Knott's Berry Farm talk. Let's get into TIG talk. That's what people are here for. They're not here for the berry talk. They're here for the TIG talk.
It could be.
Come for the berry talk. Stay for the TIG talk. What are you doing, man? What's up? It's actually been, I've seen you since we recorded last, but it's been like 8 days since we talked about what we've been watching. So I expect a long list of.
Well, it's not what's up. It's what if.
God damn it. This is how I know I'm just going to be your manager in a couple of years. I'm going to manage your podcasting career. And then I'm still going to
segues.
I'm going to take 10% of your
I hate them.
Comic book career as well. I meant to this morning. I meant to leave the office early enough to watch the second episode of What If, but I had to draw a page for my patrons at patreon.com/super75, and I had beer at the office, so I could pre-drink there. The only thing I was unable to do is watch R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman's voice in the second episode of What If, but I think we have differing opinions. Well, no, same opinion, differing. I can't.
Reactions.
Yes, I guess different levels of disappointment in the first episode of What If.
Okay, I don't have any disappointment because I have no expectations. I just don't care at all.
Yeah, true.
I don't know why. I enjoyed the films enough. I was really excited for Black Widow, but I have no interest in the TV shows. So my 13-year-old put episode 2 of What If on last night during dinner. I played a game on my phone the entire time. I looked up maybe 3 times. Saw Thanos once. Thanos was on it.
Spoiler alert. But
yeah, I could not care less. I'm sorry. So it's not good or bad. It's not anything. It could be awesome. I don't know. It's like The English Patient won like 9 fucking Academy Awards. I'm never going to see it because I have no interest. It does nothing for me. And so yeah, this Disney Plus Marvel shows are the English Patient
of the MCU.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't know how much I care anymore about it as a thing either. I'll go see Spider-Man movies because I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but I don't know. Chris Evans is gone. Robert Downey Jr. is gone.
All the white
Chris
people
Hemsworth
all the white people are being replaced.
The price of admission,
right.
So I'll go see him in whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Everything else just gets a big meh.
I'm super conscious about. Am I not interested in the newest slate of MCU movies because it's about a woman, a Chinese guy, and the Eternals? I wasn't going to be interested. You couldn't do anything to get me interested in the Eternals. But then I think is it a like a born-in prejudice? Like is it something I'm not recognizing, or is it just that they don't look as good as like other movies, or am I just burnt out?
I think for us, the non-recognition is higher than it is for the lay person, because nobody knew who the fuck Iron Man was in 2008 either. But yeah, Eternals I put on the list. It does nothing for me. I've seen the Shang-Chi trailer a few times now, and I still don't get it.
Shang-Chi.
I don't get it. It looks like Black Panther again. That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
story-wise, like content tone,
right?
It looks like the same thing.
I'm sure it'll be good. My kids are excited about it. Real quick, I want to change the subject just for a second here. For anyone who's watching on YouTube, projected behind you, is that like an editor's copy of that cover? Why is something circled and pointed out?
Oh, I didn't notice that. No, that was a note that I had. I think I can't see it real well.
Did you draw a tongue on Superman? Oh no, it was a cape. It looks like a tongue sticking out.
I think that brown part there over my shoulder was supposed to be part of his hood, but it got colored as part of somebody's cape thing.
Okay.
So yeah, a little sneak peek.
Cool.
Pulling back the curtains a little bit.
Yeah, on a book that came out 3 months ago. So I'm not interested in much MCU stuff. I There's
I don't
parts
like
of
that my shoulder keeps despairing.
there's part of the Captain Carter episode I really liked.
Hurts.
And then there were parts of it that I didn't love. And I think a lot of it had to do with the animation. At some points, it had really dynamic animation, and they used that 2D, 3D style well. And then at other points, it just looked stiff and like rotoscoped and bad. But there were parts I really dug. I like the idea of what did they call it, the Hydra Smasher or whatever. But I thought it was weak that they brought Steve Rogers back into it. Like it feels like they couldn't trust Captain
Just let
Carter.
it be Peggy's thing.
Yeah, just let it be Peggy's thing. But it was a cool visual, like when quote unquote when she was riding him off the launch. That was cool. But why not just make him like a robot? Why have to have skinny ass Steve Rogers in the thing?
Because it can't be a robot. They don't have the technology.
Well, I like buff.
They can only build a giant exoskeleton in 1944.
Right. Well, I'm a big fan of buff Peggy Carter. I'm a big fan of Haley Atwell to start with. But I do like that they didn't, they really like buffed her up for that. I mean, I guess physically, that she didn't have to go to a gym for it. It was just her voice. But I mean, the character design I thought was well, because they could have just kept like a skinny female in that role, and probably no one would have cared. But I like the fact that they kind of like buffed her up and shit.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Yeah, so I liked a lot of it. There were just certain parts. I think we had talked via message about like you could tell like none of the actors were in the same room together, and then like what they got excited about didn't match the animation. Like the animation would show someone like getting super emotional, and then it would just be Sebastian Stan like reading a line while he's smoking a doob.
That's what I had mentioned. It felt like the voice actors and the animators and the composers didn't know what anybody else was doing. I don't know what it's like in traditional animation. I don't know if voice actors are doing stuff independent of the animation. I don't know if like the rough animation is like projected for them as they're doing stuff. But I don't know. It's not to say that any of it's bad.
Right.
It's just an observation that I had.
Yeah, I would really, well, first of all, I'm bummed they didn't call her Captain Britain. Everyone's saying that. I assume that's because at some point they're going to cast Henry Cavill or somebody as Captain Britain. So they didn't want to fuck up their IPs. But I dug it. Like I would be interested in more, like if they did a series of just that character, I'd be into it. But again, it didn't, it obviously didn't blow me away enough that I have watched the second one, and it's been out for like a day and a half.
The couple glances I took last night at the TV, I noticed a lot of the rim lighting. I guess that's pretty common now, with the reddish rim on one side and the blue on the other side on almost all of the characters all of the time. And it might have been that it was like a weird, like strange alien setting, right? They're in space and they're doing all the blobbity gobbledygook.
Mm-hmm.
But
good. That's perfect.
There was a thought that snapped into my head that it just maybe it's laziness and it's just sort of automatic. This is what you do now. But again, I don't know how any of this stuff works. I would imagine that any of those people doing it are all the best people. That's why they're doing it,
right?
So
yeah, I mean,
they know more than I.
Yeah, it's not like
in every situation. I can't really speak to anything because everybody knows more than I do.
Yeah, it's not like the department. I assume it's not like the Department of Defense where they're taking the lowest bid to build like the stealth fighter. They're probably hiring the best of the best for MCU properties. One would imagine. Again, I don't work in accounting.
Right.
If I did, everyone would get a raise.
I don't know. Just an observation.
Right.
That's all. Doesn't mean it was bad.
Doesn't mean it wasn't bad. All right. Something I'm rewatching that you just put a note in our shared doc says #MeToo is Party Down rewatch. I don't know how I watched this the first time, if it was a Stars program. So I watched it when it was new. So maybe it was like Netflix DVDs.
I think it was on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a Stars program, but maybe it was on Netflix. But now it's on Hulu. but I'm doing a Party Down rewatch, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's the one thing I am watching several episodes of a night. It's only 2 seasons, so I'm almost done already. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, I have some notes though. I enjoy any relationship that has a workplace component. And maybe that's because I met both my wives at the place of business that I worked at. So maybe that's it. It's edgy enough and good enough that it holds up, even though it was made like 12 years ago. It's not safe, I guess I should say. It's one of those first, like, it's kind of like old school or fucking something like that, but as a TV show. And then I loved quoting Roman in that show, the hard sci-fi. That's the kind of sci-fi I like. Take your fantasy, shove it up your ass. Give me some hard sci-fi. Let's go to Mars. That kind of shit. And it's just charming. I mean, like I laughed out loud multiple times this week while I was sober, like just cracking the fuck up. At one point, I lost my breath. I was cracking up so hard.
Oh my God.
I thought I was going to die. I couldn't tell you the joke though. And then I'm a fan of Lizzie Kaplan. She's not Gal Gadot, where she takes your breath away with her beauty. She's just the definition of cute. And in this show, she's cute and sassy and funny. And that really ticks all three of my boxes. No more, no
boxes.
That's right. No more and no less. And then my last note is, because I watched the episode last night, I want the body of a 50-year-old Steve Guttenberg. Because there's an episode where they're catering his 50th birthday party, but it's really not. It's a party for all of them. But Steve Guttenberg is a central part of that episode, and he's ripped, and he's got like a bodybuilder's ripped, but not too big, just perfect,
just right.
Yeah, if you know what I mean. That ticked the fourth box that I didn't know I had. The Steve Guttenberg box,
where it looks like he's trying, but not that he really cares.
Yeah, like he doesn't like do a lot of cardio. He just eats clean and lifts massive amounts of weights. So he's built like a linebacker almost. So not ripped, but just like you can see his shoulders through his sweatshirt. You could see like the jawbone and some neck shit popping out. Yeah. I was like, I hope I look that good when I'm 50. I've only got 4.5 years to get there. But God willing, I'll get there. But yeah, you started watching it too. Did you start watching it because I was talking about it nonstop, or
I think so?
Were you just bored?
No,
also, Lizzie Kaplan was in Hot Tub Time Machine, which is an underrated classic.
I have not seen that.
Oh my God!
I would not have turned it on had you not mentioned it. And I think I had at least started it before. I don't know if I finished it or not. I don't recall the Steve Guttenberg thing. I think it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fun.
There are worse ways to spend your time.
Yeah.
It's fine. You said the workplace comedy sort of stuff. I really, as I get further away from it, I have a stronger and stronger intense dislike for Clerks. And I think this smells the same as Clerks. And it puts me off.
How dare you?
I really, and there's something about maybe as I get older about a character like Adam Scott's character who's just like, I don't know, just fuck it, whatever. So that's kind of bothers me.
How are you not totally invested in that character?
I don't know. I don't like passive protagonists, I guess.
Oh, see, he's like the straight man. Everything plays off him. That's why it works. He's that guy. As someone who sighs as much as you should love the Adam Scott character in this.
I don't know. I find the dynamics in the show to be a little tiresome with the over enthusiastic boss.
Well, you gotta keep watching.
Pixie girl of the era and the over the top, unfuckable nerd.
Yeah, that dynamic doesn't change.
So whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fine. I'll probably finish it, but
well, the dynamics change.
I'll fall asleep during several of them.
The dynamics of the main cast and characters change over the 2 seasons. You really gotta.
Awesome.
What else are you fucking doing? You're doing nothing. Come on.
I'll just sleep.
Yeah. All right. So what else are you fucking doing over the last week? There's a note on here that blew my fucking mind.
Blew your mind?
Yeah. Which isn't hard to do, but it did it.
I'm finally learning Spanish as an Arizona resident at 39.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Yeah, I took a semester of it in 7th grade, I think. So it's I haven't done it in a few days. I was up to like 3 days in a row or something, and I was feeling pretty good about it. But I've slacked off a little bit here, just trying to get shit done. I'll get back to it though. But it feels, it's valuable. It's a valuable skill, especially in the job market out here.
Yeah. Is that Duolingo? Is that the free app that I see commercials for?
Yes.
Yeah, I just saw it during an episode.
I don't know if you see commercials for it, but
during Party Down, I saw a commercial for it, an ad for it.
Cool.
And I looked at my wife and I said, maybe I should learn Japanese or Chinese.
Yeah.
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 Because I'm fluent in Spanish. I took 4 years in high school. So 25 years ago, I had finished my 4th year of Spanish. And so I'm good with Spanish, especially if have mini cervezas in Mexico. Mi español es muy bueno. Sí. Yo hablo rápido español in Mexico.
Right.
While drunk.
I'll get there.
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
And then we'll do a show.
Yeah. In español.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be 90 seconds long. So I got 2 podcast recommendations here. One,
I haven't heard of either of these.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a trend because I've recommended 2 Bears, 1 Cave before. Mm-hmm. So I've realized the podcasts I love are just like 2 just fantastically close friends shooting the shit for an hour every week. So the first one, We Might Be Drunk podcast, is Mark Norman and Sam Morrell. They're comedians. This one's definitely not for everyone. So like it's very anti-PC. Lots of jokes that would make your mom blush or would make a suburban Scottsdale housewife blush. But I like it. They get together in their they have a studio. I haven't watched any of them on YouTube yet, but they have a studio. They have a mixologist with them every week, and he makes them cocktails, and they drink, and then they just shoot the shit about where they toured, where what kind of jokes they're working on, what they recommend, that kind of thing. I like it. It's fun, but again, if you're not into that sort of, if you're not used to hearing people talk a certain way, then it might be tough for you to digest. I grew up talking like this, so it's good for me. And the second one is Anthony Jeselnik and Greg Rosenthal have a podcast. They're best friends from like college. Anthony Jeselnik's obviously a comedian. Again, not a comedian for everyone. And Greg Rosenthal works for NFL Films. And he does a podcast he does the Inside the NFL podcast, but they're like best friends from college. They do a podcast together. It's called the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project, JRVP. And it's just the same thing. It's them shooting the shit every week, talking about what they've been watching. They bring up like news items. So they'll find like a funny news item and just talk about it. On the show a couple weeks ago, they talked about how like this one guy got hit by a train and killed. And then a week later, his brothers were at his gravesite, and essentially his 2 brothers essentially got drunk and fell asleep on the train tracks and got killed by a train like a week later. And then today's podcast, they were talking about like there was a manure pit, like whoever these brothers, it was again 3 brothers. They worked somewhere that had a manure pit. I don't know what kind of business that is, maybe fertilizer. And one of them fell into the manure pit, and the other 2 tried to get him out, and all 3 died in the manure pit from inhaling meth. There's no oxygen in there, it's just all methane. So
that's shitty.
Yeah. But yeah, those are fun podcasts if you're of a certain humor level. All right, you got one more rec here that I thought we talked about, but maybe I talked about it at Acme with somebody and not in person.
No, we didn't talk about it. I had seen the the little preview things when you scroll through Netflix and it starts playing for I Think You Should Leave, and it was just a series of people just shouting things, and it looked like the worst kind of comedy. But after Bob Odenkirk went to the hospital, people kept posting skit of him with the doubles and triples. And I watched that. I thought it was pretty funny. So I gave the show a shot, and it's right up my fucking alley.
Yeah, I must have talked about this with Gonzo, but I only watched the first 2 episodes, and the episodes are only like 15 minutes long.
Yeah, they're all just bits and pieces that are like 2 to 5 minutes. And
yeah, but I watched them, and I looked over at my wife, and she wasn't into it, and I'm like, oh, this is something I should probably watch alone. And then I never watch TV by myself, so I just haven't gotten back to it. But I love a show like that where there's like some stuff, and I'm like I want stuff to hit and miss. If it's gonna swing big, I want it to hit big, and I want it to miss big. And some of them, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, it's like you gave like a 12-year-old a camcorder, and then the next one will come on and it'll be fucking hilarious.
So years and years and years ago, I had started writing this thing that in my head would have played like something like this, where you just take an idea like, oh, like some guy yelling out of his window at another driver, don't you know how to drive? And the response from the other driver being, no. And I'm scared. It's perfect and it's beautiful and I love it.
Yeah, I'm into it and people seem to love it. Like I said, I'm in a rut where I can't. I've talked about this. Some would say ad nauseum, is I can't watch shit while I work because I use my data at work for the internet, so I can't just stream TV all day. And then I come home and I just can't like tell my wife like, hey, we're gonna watch 4 hours of what I want to watch. So I just never watch anything anymore.
Yeah.
My TV viewing is at an all-time minimum.
Yeah, I'm only a few episodes in. I have to sit down and after I'm done watching the thing I'm watching now, which we'll talk about in the rest of the episode, I'll get back to that. But yeah, I love it. It's my favorite kind of thing where it starts with this simple situation and this thing that it seems totally innocuous. Somebody hires a Johnny Carson impersonator for somebody's birthday party, and it turns out in the contract he's allowed to hit anybody he wants. It's so stupid, and just saying it out loud, you would think how that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but the execution is just so on point. Yeah, it's like, I am actually envious of the show.
Yeah, it's the kind of shit you come up with when you're like drunk or high or something and you're just chatting with somebody and then someone went and just made it. Like they produced it. Someone paid them to make it.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a dumb idea that got funded.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, not for me. You have another rec?
Do I? No, I don't.
Did you already? You didn't talk about we might be drunk.
Yeah, we did. It's the pod. I recommended 2 podcasts at once.
I wasn't listening.
No, you weren't. It's a good podcast, though. I'm jealous of the fact that they are obviously. Obviously, they're popular comedians.
Saying Norman and Morrow.
Yeah, so I'm jealous that they actually have like a mixologist on staff while they're working. You know, to me, that's jealous because you can hear them in the back. Like they'll be talking and you can hear the shaker going in the back.
Nice.
Because he's making them round too. Yeah, I'm just pouring my own drinks like a bitch over here. Sad baby.
Should we get into the meat?
Yeah, let's get into the meat. Why don't you talk about the other show you've been watching? And then we got some surprises in store. It's going to be a special episode.
Whoa.
I mean, I know that's not great to announce at minute 39, but if you're
special episode.
If you're still here, you're in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. So the other show that I had started previously, and I found out the other day that I was 3 episodes into, unbeknownst to me. I didn't go back and start it over. I just started at episode 3 again, I think. It was Formula One on Netflix. And I just started season 3. I'm 1 or 2 episodes into season 3 now.
So you're in COVID season.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah, so that's good. So my brother has also been watching this show, but he watches it like 1 episode like every week or 2. So when he comes over and my wife and I are watching F1 or whatever, he's making references to shit that happened like 3 years ago. Because obviously the Netflix show is always a season behind the current F1 season.
Right.
So he'll reference something and I'll be like, man, that team doesn't even exist anymore. Like that team's now this team, or that driver now drives for this team.
So this morning I went on the F1 website to look at teams and drivers.
Right. Oh, you were in for a surprise then. There's a big shakeup from what you know.
It's much different.
Yes. Right. I
don't know what's going to happen today.
It's exciting. Your drivers that you like and your drivers that you don't like, or not don't like, but your notes here, I pretty much agree with, except for your last note here. But let's talk about the top 2 drivers. So you have Hamilton and Verstappen are monsters. They're just like it's like
they're always there.
They're always there. Yeah, and a lot of that is the car, but I will say you haven't gotten to it because it wasn't filmed because it just happened. So I think spoiler alert. I'm going to spoil it for you though because that's the point of we're talking about this. You could put your fingers in your ears if you want. So my whole thought is it really? It's not really the best 20 drivers in the world because a lot of it is money. But at one point last season, George Russell from one of the worst teams drives. You don't have to do that. I won't spoil it. So
it didn't work anyway because I had earbuds in.
So George Russell from Williams, who's one of the worst teams, takes the seat for somebody who gets sick in one of the best teams. Because what you don't quite understand maybe yet is that a lot of these drivers are under contract to manufacturers, not necessarily to the team they're driving for.
Oh.
So they could be loaned to this team, or this team could be a development team. Like AlphaTauri is a development team for Red Bull.
Right.
So another driver steps into one of the best cars in the grid. A driver who drives for one of the worst teams on one race last year, hops into one of the best cars on the grid and does tremendously well. So let's not discount the fact that how much the cars have to do with why Hamilton and Verstappen are always up top. But again, well, more so Hamilton's teammate is normally in the top 3, 4, 5. Max's teammates have never been great. He's got a good one this year, but you'll come to find out in your notes. You might be disappointed who his teammate is currently.
Yeah, I know who it is. I looked on the website.
Okay. So Checo to me is fine. I only know nicknames. Not Sebastian. What's Checo's real name?
Who are you thinking of?
Checo. His real name though.
Sergio.
Esteban, right?
Ocon.
Oh no.
Sergio Perez.
Sergio Perez, Sebastian Ocon. Sergio Perez, Checo.
Esteban Ocon, Sergio
Perez. Right. So Checo is Sergio Perez. I like
Sebastian Vettel.
I like Checo fine. But I really like Daniel Ricciardo. I don't like why you don't like Danny Rick. We got to get into this.
I don't like anybody that constantly calls themselves good looking.
Oh, well, how have we been friends for so long?
Well, he's got the nose size Texas.
Yeah.
Pump your brakes there, Ricardo.
I like Danny Rick. And I do agree with your note here about Williams being the team you want to love, but they're just terrible. Yeah.
They're so sad.
They're so sad. But yeah, George Russell's my guy. I'm a fan of a lot of the young drivers, George Russell, Lando Norris. And then what?
Lando.
Yeah, he was named after the freedom fighter. So what's your second to last note here? I don't want to step on your notes. We have to learn how to do a podcast with shared notes.
So Ferrari, obviously, just because I know the name before even watching the show.
Right.
seems like the Yankees, the Lakers,
Yeah, they're
the
the
Patriots,
they're
the team that's easy for everybody else to hate.
they're the only team that has raced in all 71 years of Formula One. So they've always been around, though they have not been good for a while now. Well, not been top for a while now. A term well from the show. They're up there with best of the rest, but they're never top.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, how can you be?
I mean, with the monsters of Mercedes and Red Bull.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and Red Bull. I mean,
so this show was going to be me picking which F1 team to root for, and that's what part of that's what my notes are getting at.
Right.
And so it would be easy to take Mercedes, and it would be easy to root for him. I think it's totally easy to root for Lewis Hamilton too, especially because of the show. He seems like such a good dude.
Oh yeah, he's a huge activist too. He is a good dude. Yeah, he's a great guy. But I don't agree with your last note here. If you want to jump in, I do not agree with
that.
this.
I can't root for an energy drink.
Right, you're not rooting. You're not rooting for the physical beverage of Red Bull.
It's weird. I don't know. It's just weird.
All right,
especially when it's a Red Bull. Like even like Monster might be a little easier for me to swallow. I'm trying to think of what other brand
literally
would be like this, but none of the other teams are anything like this.
Well, no, they're not a manufacturer.
The sponsor,
right?
The sponsor's giant.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, moving forward from current day, not season 3 of Drive to Survive, Red Bull is developing their own power units. Red Bull will be a builder in the next year or two. But okay, let's get into this. I pulled up a quiz that's going to tell you who you should support based on how you answer this 6 question quiz. Gotcha. I believe. Let's see. I'm going to do it on my phone here. My 10-year-old Samsung here. Let's see. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. It's got to load. Come on.
6 questions. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be aware, I think, of how I'm answering these questions, probably based on what I've seen so far on the series.
That's fine, but it's also like a personality thing. Answer honestly, unless you're ashamed to answer honestly. Maybe it's a shameful question. I don't know. Number 1, do you consider yourself a risk taker? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. On the last lap, what do you prefer? Being behind and attacking, or being in front and defending?
So on the last lap, do I prefer to be behind and attacking or defending?
Right.
I don't know. On the last lap, you want to already be ahead, right? So I want to be defending.
Okay. If someone cuts you off, this could be in real life. If someone cuts you off, how do you react? Do you complain? Do you get even? I don't know what that means. Do you ram them? That would be getting even. Or do you let it go and focus on the race? Do you let it go and focus on your day? Do you rage? Do you murder them?
If we're going to draw some real life parallels, I'm a huge stickler for the turn signal. So if you're driving like an asshole, but you're using a turn signal, I'm fine.
All right.
So
even if someone
just let it go.
Even if someone cuts you off, but they use their turn, if you have to slam on brakes, but the turn signal's on, you're cool with that?
Well, that's the definition of cut off, right? If I have to tap my brakes because somebody merges in front of me, right? I don't know. I just let it go. Like, what the fuck is getting upset going to do about it?
Oh, that's some Zen shit. Okay, what is more important to you? It says most, but there's only 2 options, so I'm going to fix it. What is more important to you? Success or entertainment?
What?
Do you want to be successful or do you want to entertain people?
I guess successful.
Tough one. Yeah, I know. Okay. If you get on the podium, where do you spray your champagne? Keep it clean. We're a PG-13 podcast. Where do you spray your champagne if you're a winner on the podium? On my team, they deserve the praise. I down the whole bottle because my name's Ryan Cody. I spray it on my teammate, but not on the other driver. Ugh. I just place it on the floor and walk away. How do you celebrate?
On my team?
Okay.
I haven't seen anybody do the latter.
No, that doesn't really happen.
That'd be funny, though.
And then this is going to be, what's your favorite race of the year? You might have to just choose out of these selections what city you'd like to visit.
Does anybody not choose Monte Carlo?
Monte Carlo's not on the list.
What?
Oh, wait, sorry. Monaco is. So, yes.
Monaco. Yeah.
Monaco, Spa, which is in Italy. Monza.
No, Spa's in Belgium.
Spa's in Belgium. Monza, which is in Italy. Melbourne, Silverstone, which is the UK race. And then Shanghai.
Oof.
Monaco, Spa, Monza, Melbourne, Silverstone, or Shanghai?
Ooh. It's got to be between Monaco and Shanghai, right?
Yeah,
because all the rest look the same.
Yeah, when I took this test last night to see if it would work on my phone, I chose Shanghai because it's such a beautiful.
Yeah.
You got the little boat across the two buildings up in Shanghai.
Right. But just because I'm a noob, I'll go with Monaco.
Okay.
I don't know anything better.
All right. I'm going to predict that your answer comes up Ferrari because you chose Monaco and it's their home.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. That's not
no, Ferrari's Italy.
Oh, well, you've hit the jackpot. You should support Mercedes.
Ugh.
The reigning champ, so you're most likely to be in for a great year.
That's boring.
Yeah, that is boring. Watching the show, what drivers? So I don't really support teams. I support drivers.
Yeah,
I guess by supporting drivers, you do support teams. Like if Max is in first, I want Checo to be in the top 3. You know, I want his teammate to be in the top 3 because I want the team to be up there for constructors.
He looks so much like Tom Cruise. It's weird.
Yeah, he's probably a little taller though.
I don't know. I think I like Max. I like Lewis. I like Sainz in the show right now. He's with McLaren,
right?
Who is McLaren seems like yes, they're one of the ones fighting to be the best of the rest.
Right.
They're not as sad as Williams.
No,
it feels like they're almost as bad just because they just have so many resources and they do almost nothing with all of it.
Right. Yeah. And McLaren is interesting because their team principal is American. It's the only American team
weird.
principal. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out if I had seen Horner's wife before, and it took me a while to figure out that was Ginger Spice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could root for him because she was my favorite.
Well, of the Spices, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like one thing that watching international sports, I guess I should just say British sports, but has taught me is like, I like so in American sports, it's all or nothing. Like, I guess you could be happy if the Diamondbacks come in third when they're supposed to come in last. You know, they missed the playoffs by a game. You could be happy.
Sure.
But in British sports, it's more about like, so I look at a team like AlphaTauri and I look like, they're exceeding expectations. Like they're doing way better than they should do. There's no way they're going to finish in the top 3 constructors. But if they have a 5 finish and if they have 2 top 10 finishes in a race, I'm like, oh, that's the team of the day because they're outperforming what they should be doing. So that's the thing I kind of dig about watching like soccer, which we're going to get into, and F1 is just like, it's not always about, because sometimes Hamilton will win a race by like 40 seconds. So there's never any, and very rarely does whoever start in pole, unless there's an accident or whatever.
Yes, that is one of the interesting bits. There's a lot of interesting bits about F1 that I find going through the show. It's weird that the drivers refer to themselves as teams when they're not. There's no teamwork happening. There's nothing
Well, that's not true.
There's nothing that even seems friendly about a
No,
lot of them.
that's not true. So if you're if you're a teammate and let's say
Yeah.
it,
But none consensual teamwork.
it's not consent, right? The team tells you what to do and you follow those orders. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's weird that there's only 10 teams, there's 20 drivers, but your biggest competitor is your teammate because you're racing with the same equipment. And so if you lose to your teammate, it's the reason why you lost is more definitive.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Like
he's a better driver than I am.
Yeah, almost every season, George Russell at Williams has a new teammate, and he always outqualifies his teammate.
Yeah, it also seems so weird that there's only in the entire world there's 20 seats.
Yes,
and that you would think out of 7 billion people that the top 20 would be so tightly packed and so equally matched that it could be anybody's. The poll could be any one of theirs. I think
if they all drove,
but there's such a gap between the number 1 and number 20.
Right, but I think if they all drove the Silver Arrow, the Mercedes, there'd be a much smaller gap between 1 and 20.
Sure, and that I also don't understand. There's a bit in the start of season 3 where there's a lot of scrutiny on BWT because they think they stole the Mercedes design.
Right.
Which, fucking right. Like, why wouldn't I be doing that?
Right. Yeah, for people who currently watch F1, BWT is now Aston Martin. But yes. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's both of these sports we're talking about today, or both. I guess.
Why wouldn't you do that? Williams couldn't even put a fucking car together in time for the race.
Yeah, both of these things we're talking about today, I started watching during the pandemic, and my wife is fully on board. More for F1 than anything. Like we watch qualifying together, and then we watch the race together. Like, so I record qualifying on Saturdays and we watch the race on Sundays. We don't get up at 5 a.m. to watch them, but we record them. We make little bets on the chalkboard behind me. We write down who we think is going to get pole, who's going to get second, who's going to get third before the qualifying. We do our choices. We're almost never right. But, you can always, if you just choose like Max or Hamilton, you got a 50-50 chance. But yeah, I find it... and much like soccer, I can relax and watch it, and you don't have to pay constant attention to it. It might be boring at times or whatever, but the fan support and when one little so like in baseball, yeah, it's cool when someone hits a homer, but like when a goal is scored in soccer or like a overtake happens on the last lap of a race, it's 10 times bigger. It's like
that's an interesting note. I find watching the series that it feels a lot like soccer.
Yeah.
Where there's constantly something happening, right? There's always movement, but when the substantial things happen that change the outcome of a game,
right? It's huge.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's like below average as far as like excitement goes most of the time, but then the highs are so much higher than like every time like
I do feel like the baseline for excitement or action or the feeling of needing to watch for those two things, the baseline is higher than American sports.
Yeah, like
even with football, the thing that's giant, it's a burst of activity for 5 seconds, and then there's 2 minutes until the next thing where they just stand around.
Yeah, like my wife and I on the last race we were watching, and like George Russell at Williams has had a pretty good year currently, and he's gotten to Q3 a couple times, top 10 qualifying a couple times. And so like we get super pumped when George Russell just can qualify 10th. Like if he's just 50% of the rest of the field, we're ecstatic. Like we'll be out shopping. We'll be like, man, George had a good day. Like fuck, what a hard worker there, Or we'll be like, Pierre Gasly fucked it up on lap 50, even though like it doesn't fucking matter. But I don't talk about that like with other sports. I don't know what it is, but I do love the ritual. Maybe it's because it's so early in the morning. You get up, you make breakfast. It's like a weekend morning ritual, and then it's done. So it's not like a normal sport in North America where it doesn't start till 7 at night. So you have your whole day, and then I got to interrupt my day to watch this. It's like my day starts out watching this, and then I have the rest of my day.
Yeah, maybe. I think, again, I can't speak to it a whole bunch because I'm just dipping my toe right now.
Right.
Right now, it's just a tip for me.
But also, you don't have ESPN, so you're not watching a live race anytime soon.
No, I can watch it on my phone, I guess. But I think as Americans, it's kind of exotic. It's this outsider sort of thing. It feels like something that can be your own. Like it's this thing that you have that you just share with a select special number of people who also have an interest, right? It's like
right.
Sort of like having a secret.
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about next, Premier League. Yeah. If I'm walking around town in my Everton shirt, if I ever see anyone else in Everton gear, it's like, oh shit, we should exchange numbers and become best friends, right? Like that's the way it goes. So you just threw this out there. I don't think you really have much interest in the Premier League, but you mentioned what Premier League team should I support? And I responded with, I got a quiz for that.
Yeah, let's do the quiz.
Okay. So I've talked about this on the show before. I took a quiz and it came up Everton. Yeah. So I support Everton.
Outside of the World Cup, there's not a league, like a world league, right?
Well, even the World Cup's World Cup's a tournament, not a league.
Right. But you know what I mean.
No,
they're all localized.
Yeah, so basically the hierarchy of tournaments that matter, it's the World Cup, and then below that you have the Champions League, which is the best teams from Europe competing. And then below that you have secondary, you have UEFA Cup, European League, which is secondary to the Champions League. And then there's also like an Asian Cup and there's a CONCACAF for North America, but the best players play in Champions League football. So that's the best teams from the Premier League, best teams from the Spanish League, best teams from the, French League, whatever. They all play in Champions League. So the Premier League is essentially the best league in England, but it's also it might be the best league in the world overall. So,
and that's because of. That's just economics.
And
right?
And players want to play because Champions League is not a league you can just play in.
I would imagine it's like the NHL. In America, it's the Premier League because it pays the most. America doesn't produce the best hockey players.
Right.
But everybody else is going to come here for the opportunity to make the most money.
Right. But also you can't just say I want to sign. There's no team that plays just in the Champions League. You have to be in a team that is in top of your league to then get allowed to play in the Champions League. So people who want to play on the highest level have to play for teams that have a chance to play in that tournament. And Premier League is one of those leagues. Okay. Historically, like I said, I took one of these.
Is this like the last one?
There's 10 of these. It's the last one. 10 questions though.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the questions on the last quiz were non-specific to the circuit.
Right. Well, this is sort of, so you want to answer these generally, like think about how you want to support a team here at home. Answer these questions that way. Okay. Trying to match your personality.
Do Premier League teams have personalities as well?
Sure they do.
Okay.
Sure they do, because as soon as my quiz 18 months ago told me to support Everton, I'm a diehard Toffee supporter.
All right. Let's do it.
Historically, how good have your current favorite sports teams been? trash like the Cleveland Browns, but I'm still a fan. We win a championship every like 50 years. Pretty up and down. We're usually competing for championships, or I only like rooting for really good teams.
God. Okay. So teams that I follow in my lifetime, I have seen 5 championships, I guess, in my lifetime. 4 of them have been the Wings.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
Because the Wings fucking are assholes.
Well, Phoenix Sports, I think, follows the Cleveland Browns model. I wouldn't say they're up and down.
Well, so do you want to go like they never win, but I'm still a fan, or do you want to go like we won a championship like to a century?
I feel like this is gauging my preference. I don't want my team to be awful.
Right,
like, I would not choose that for them.
Well, then take that into account. If the Wings won 4 of the 5 championships, but you don't currently watch the Wings, you can't be a diehard fan of the Wings because you don't watch them when they lose.
I don't know. I feel like my teams are rarely ever in title contenders. So I guess being generous would be saying they're up and down.
Okay, well, that'd be like the middle pick, like the average pick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. They'll make the playoffs, a healthy percentage of the time.
Okay, well, then that makes sense. There is no playoffs in the Premier League, so that'll make sense. All right, pretty up and down. All right. So, shit, this is a two-button questioner. A two-hitter. How do you decide who to root for? Your local teams you grew up watching, favorite players play for them, or just the best teams in the league?
Well, I think
I should
teams
say
you grew up watching can also eat 2 of the other answers.
Right. Sorry, it actually does say sometimes my local team, some teams that I liked watching growing up, it's the same thing.
I guess it's that one then.
Right, because you still want the Tigers to win.
Right.
Right, okay. All right. In what kind of style would you like your team to play? Boring, conservative, whatever. I just want them to win no matter what. I don't hate low-scoring games, but I'd prefer not to root for the most boring team, or I like teams that are the most entertaining to watch.
Well, if you're going to watch the game, you want to be entertained. So, yeah, I'll go with that one.
All right, final answer. My tailbone's killing me, by the way. How important is a strong fan base to you? How important is the fan base to you?
I don't care.
No support, a ton of support. I really don't care.
I don't care.
Okay. You don't even want me to finish?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay. All right. Almost halfway done. Who's your favorite athlete? Who's your favorite athlete out of these 4 options? Antoine Jameson, Derrick Rose, Bryce Harper, Tom Brady, or I've never even heard of Antoine Jameson.
Antoine Jameson is long retired.
Right.
He's a basketball player.
Sure, Derrick Rose is long retired.
No, he's still playing. He's in Nick.
Oh, is he? All right, they're just trying to gauge some shit here. So Antoine,
what was it, 4?
Well, there's 4, and then there's the 5th option. So Antoine Jameson, Derrick Rose, Bryce Harper, Tom Brady, or I've never even heard of Antoine Jameson.
Oh, that's the 5th option. I thought that was you editorializing.
No, but that's what I clicked when I took this test last night.
I don't know. I like Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I thought you might say that.
It's a clown question, bro.
Yeah, here you go. Pick the team you hate the most. Patriots, Cowboys, Seahawks, or I don't hate any of these teams.
Patriots, Cowboys, Seahawks. Was there a 4th one?
Yeah, I don't hate any of these teams.
Oh.
None of the above.
I don't hate the Patriots anymore because Tom Brady's not a Patriot, but Bill Belichick's still a piece of shit. I don't remember the other ones. Seahawks, I don't care about.
Cowboys, Seahawks.
Uh,
Or you
I
can
don't know.
choose.
I guess the Cowboys.
You can choose. You don't hate any of these teams.
I don't know. TV does keep trying to shove the Cowboys down your throat 25 years on from their last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Sir. And the Cardinals, when I was a Cardinals fan, were in the NFC East for a long time with the Cowboys. So fine, Cowboys.
All right, here's another one. So that was football. Here's another one. Pick the team you hate most. Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, New York Knicks. I hate super teams. I don't hate any of these teams.
I fucking hate the Lakers.
Yeah, you got to choose that if you're a Phoenix fan. All right, three more. Pick your favorite player from among these.
Mm-hmm.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Kane, Wayne Rooney, Wilfried Zaha, or I don't know any of these guys.
I know Ronaldo. I guess I don't. Maybe it's the last one.
Okay.
I think Tom Rinaldi is who I was thinking of.
Okay, question 9. Do you care about your team having a long history? No, not as long as we're good now. It's important, I guess, but not something I think about a lot. Yes, I prefer to support a team with lots of history.
I like my bourbons that have history. I don't care so much about my football team.
Okay, so is it important, I guess, but not something I care about, or not as long as we're good? Are you willing to?
No, the first one.
No, I don't care as long as we're good now.
That's the no answer?
Yes, that's a tricky question.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna get it.
I'll take that just because it's no. I don't need that other bit.
Right, but you're by answering that question, I predict you're going to get a top 4 team to support here, which isn't
lucky for me, I guess.
Isn't bad. Okay, last question. How much do you like soccer? I love it. It's one of my favorite sports. I like it, want to get into it more. It's not my favorite sport, but if it's a game with teams I've heard of, I'll watch, or I only watch the World Cup.
I am a mixture of I only watch the World Cup and I want to get into it more.
Got to choose one or the other.
So let's go with the second one.
I like it. I want to get more into it. Okay, are you ready to find out what kits you have to buy, what teams you have to support,
nervous.
What bars you have to go to watch it?
I'm gonna have to go to Amazon and get some stuff after this.
Oh, this copped out and gave you 2 teams and it told you to research it. So you got the Tottenham, which is Tottenham Hotspurs.
Hotspurs.
Or Arsenal. Your teams, this is why I'll read what it says. Your teams are usually, fucking ad popped up. Your teams are usually pretty good, and when they're not, consider finding another team to simultaneously support. That's bullshit. You love, God damn it. Sorry. It dropped. Didn't
Marino just get sacked at Tottenham?
Hang on. Yes.
Maybe I'll go with that since I already know a little bit.
So Tottenham has Harry Kane currently, but he's going to get traded. Tottenham has the best Asian player in the world for their team.
Progress.
So you like a good rivalry, but you don't care about history. You like rooting for big name teams in big markets. Tottenham and Arsenal are a rivalry. They're both North London clubs, so you have to decide.
I don't know. I see bumper stickers a lot for Arizona Arsenal, so maybe.
Well, Tottenham
take that just because.
Yeah. Tottenham has the Arizona supporters group too. I've seen Hotspur flags out and about now and then. I will admit, before I took the test. Yeah, it's a rooster. It's a cock. Oh, it's right up your alley. Yeah. I was leaning towards Tottenham before I took the test. So that's a good secondary team. Tottenham wants to be an elite team, and they're like right below an elite team. They're like best of the rest, Tottenham. But Arsenal's right up there too. But last week, one of the teams that got promoted from the league below cleaned Arsenal's clock. So you can't be happy to be an Arsenal fan right now when Brentford fucked you up for 2 goals. Yeah. All right, that's fine.
Happens.
That's fine. Tottenham's good. You know, we can't all be Everton fans, but I will say,
what are my colors?
That's
kind of important. I can't believe that wasn't on the questionnaire.
Silver, blue, and white. Kind of like the Cowboys.
Uh, uh,
Yeah.
that was kind of important to me looking at the teams on F1.
Arsenal is red, gold, and black.
It's like if they're on TV, I'll root for the Chargers because I like the helmets.
Fucking child. Yeah, so last night I was testing this app out to make sure I could do it on my phone. And I answered it honestly to myself, and I got Everton again. Okay. My wife said, I want to try it. She got Everton.
Wow.
Yeah.
Simpatico.
Yes. Go Toffees. We won 3-1 last week. No big deal. I mean, it was against Southampton, and they suck, so we should have won 3-1.
About the color scheme, I gotta say.
Well, like I said, you could still choose Arsenal. They're red, gold, and black for the most part. Red, yellow, and black. Arsenal's
more exciting.
Arsenal is also the Gunners. Tottenham is the Hotspurs.
It's the same thing. A firearm or a cock.
Yeah, as long as there's a week left in the transfer deadline. Harry Kane wants to leave, but if Harry Kane doesn't go, you might have the best striker in all of British football on your team. But if he goes, then you don't. Just keep an eye on that transfer window over the next 6 days, I would suggest. New fan.
Well, if the best player on the team wants out.
He just wants to play Champions League, and they missed out on Champions League football last season. So,
but that also implies that he's not confident they're anywhere near the Champions League in the future.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know. The season just started. It's a long season too because they play several tournaments within their season. It's like if the Tigers during their regular season also played in second or two other tournaments to try to qualify for a third tournament. There's so many games in the season that aren't Premier League games that happen. It's a weird sport to follow. But yeah, there you go. You're a Mercedes fan and a Tottenham fan. You could do worse. You could have been a Haas fan and a fucking, you could have been a fucking Brentford fan. So you did better than you should have.
Yeah. Brentford sounds terrible.
Yeah, they just got promoted to they call it the top flight. They just got promoted to the Premier League. It's the first time in 74 years they've been in British top flight football.
I knew a Brent in elementary school.
He's a dick.
He was a bummer.
Yeah, what a bitch. All right, so there you go. You have one other note here that you're you're going to full on support a team now. That's not one of the sports we just talked about, but it's a sport.
Yeah,
it's a sport we've talked about to ad nauseum lately.
I have a vacancy.
Okay.
Yes. So I don't care about the NFL. I'm out. I've been out on the Cardinals for several years. Yeah, the
NFL is hard unless you're born and raised in the NFL. I don't see people falling in love with the NFL the way I've fallen in love with British football or whatever. It's the biggest sport I don't give a fuck about is the NFL or American football in general.
Yeah. I'll be back on the Suns when the basketball season starts up.
Yeah.
But we're in the dog days of baseball right now. And my teams are terrible. So they're just playing out the string.
The Diamondbacks are fucking me up by winning 4 out of 5. I want them to be historically bad. And then some dipshit gets called up from the minors and throws a no-hitter in his debut. Like, what?
Yeah, great. Second no-hitter of the season for the Diamondbacks.
What the fuck is going on, man? Tank.
That Bumgarner's 7-inning one counted. God damn it. If you're going to schedule a game to only be 7 innings and there are no hits, it's a no-hitter. It doesn't matter how long the game is.
Yeah, Stern is the different sport.
No,
right?
David Stern, was the previous NBA commissioner.
Oh, right. I don't know who the fuck's in charge of baseball, and I really don't give a shit. All right. Well, there you go. Another sports pod. We can't get rid of sport. We're becoming sports fans.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
what are the listeners going to do? I know what we're going to do. We're going to keep doing whatever the fuck we want.
I hope you're ready later this year. Well, it's not going to happen for at least a month because the Toffees have an easy schedule. We play a bunch of scrubs our first 5 or 6 games, but when we play the Hotspurs, when we play Tottenham or Arsenal, I'll give you time to make your decision. We'll find out next week.
I have to go on Amazon and look at the gear, and then I'll decide.
We'll have to do a live recording, and since you don't have cable, I'll just broadcast it in the third window, and we'll mute it, and that'll be a Patreon exclusive. When my Toffees fuck up either the Gunners or the Hotspurs.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah.
It seems like a thing. It's hard to imagine, though, Toffee doing anything to anybody.
Oh, they're fucking cool. They're also called the Blues, obviously. So
why isn't their color brown?
Because it's blue and white. They're the Toffees. But their third jersey has no blue in it. It's gold, white, and black. So...
Nice.
It's all about selling jerseys. Anyways, speaking of
Steelers.
Yeah. Speaking of selling shit, how was your Great Divide farmhouse sale?
It's farmhouse. There's a big difference. I think.
How's Colleen doing?
On the nose, it's got the sour, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Usually a sour has got some sort of direction flavor-wise. It's usually got the fruity influence. It's a blah blah sour, whether it be watermelon or a raspberry or cucumber, whatever it is. And this is just got the tartness without the added benefit of having a noticeable flavor. So it just kind of it's missing something. It's missing it's the sour. I don't know. It's not as good. It's not as good as the sour. Which is totally disappointing because I like the can art a lot.
Yeah, that's a good silhouette. That artist knows it's how to spot its blacks.
Knew what it was doing.
Yeah, got those hips up in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like being generous is giving it a 3.
When did we start doing that?
Yeah, right. I don't know. I'll go with a 3 though. Sure, I'll be generous.
All right.
New regime.
Yes, Harlan. Yeah, new sports, new man, new regime. Harlan Brewing's I remember wins sour Kvek Deepa with honey, blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry, 8.5%. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would enjoy it for a sour. It was for anyone who watched the video, it was very purple. I would say the blackberry and blueberry dominated the color spectrum here. It was good. I mean, whatever. It was fine. I drank it all. I mean, I always do, but yeah, and it was fine. 3. I could see a style like this really.
3s.
Yeah, I could see a style like this really being in my wheelhouse. This one just didn't quite do it for me, but it's good. I appreciate the can art. I appreciate the design. It's good to go. So a 3. One other thing I made a mental note of, but forgot to say. So if you don't have, like, if you want to get excited about Premier League, but you can't watch the games if you don't have cable or the app, then you can go on YouTube and Premier League does a great job of I just watched it this morning. I had 20 minutes to kill. So I watched every Premier League goal from week 1. And all it is the goals and replays of the goals. And it's great because all you see is the fan and like people screaming and their beers spilling. And like, that's what I love about it. Like one dude scores 1 goal and it's such a big deal in soccer because almost every game is like a 2-1 or 1-0 game that it's like everyone goes fucking nuts. Stadiums erupt. Like every goal is like a World Series home run for the Premier League. So if you want to get excited and want to feel good, just watch 20 minutes of that shit. Yeah, and you can research. You can research Arsenal. You can research Tottenham on your YouTube.
Yeah, I will dig into it. And I'm almost certain that I'm not going to go with Mercedes.
No, because it's not fun to, like, who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody, and they're like, I can't believe you chose Everton to support. and they're wearing like a Liverpool jersey, and I'm like, oh, so I could just immediately become a baseball fan and choose the Yankees in the late '90s. Like, I don't want to be that guy either. Like, I don't want to. I want a team to build with and to cheer and to grow with.
Because soon enough the tide's going to turn.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's going to be miserable.
Yeah, so I'm fine being in the trenches and being with my team for a decade before they do something great. I'm fine with that. I don't want to be the worst team.
Yeah, I also recall now the height of the most recent Tigers run, and really sort of paying attention to the way I felt watching games is that watching teams you like is a miserable experience. At least it was for me. It was just anxiety filled, and I never felt good watching something I cared about. So I don't know how this is gonna go.
All right,
I don't know if I'll stick with it. I mean, like, yeah, even I guess the most recent examples, essentially seeing the Suns get swept out of the finals, was
a bummer.
Tough to stomach.
But we didn't get swept out. We won a game.
We won the first 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we lost the last 4.
Yeah, but that's not. Now you're just using the term sweep a little liberally.
4 in a row.
Little liberally.
That's
from
a sweep.
Not in a 7-game series. It is
Anytime
a sweep.
It's a sweep.
Yeah. Get out the brooms. Okay. Cool. Great talk. Great talk.
Yeah.
Good one. I'm glad you're finally on board with this shit. Now we have something else to talk about in our notes. We'll do our
I'm just trying to find common points of interest.
I appreciate that. If you had any interests, let me know.
This relationship is important to me.
Well, it's important to me too. So if you have any interest, you let me know and I'll try to meet you halfway. But I'm not watching woodworking YouTube videos. I can't do that. So, and I'm not going to wear. No. I'm not going to wear a Stetson. So
we could nerd out over dovetail joints.
Yeah, I think we've reached an impasse. Although I do need some shivs under my refrigerator at work. So maybe I watch a YouTube video on shivs.
Shivs?
Isn't that what they're called? Yeah, it's called a shiv, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's a tiny little baby wedge that you put under there.
Right.
Right.
Yes. You also murder people in prison with them.
That's right. I do both. All right, man. Send us back in now that you're a new Mercedes fan and Tottenham/Arsenal fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to think of something funny. Go Hotspurs or Arsenals.
You're gonna choose Gunners because Hotspur is too good for you. I think you want to work for it, so you're gonna choose Arsenal.
It's too good for me.
No, I mean they're too good. You're almost bandwagoning if you jump on the Hotspurs.
Oh,
because they're like a top 4 team, top 5 team.
I see.
Yeah, you like to work for
it. Yeah. Misery is like a warm blanket.
Yes. All right. Yeah, whatever you said. Be good.